Over 60, 4 worst fishes you should never touch, and 4 you must eat. Senior health. Have you ever sat down to a nice meal of fish feeling proud that you're making a healthy choice for your heart? For generations, we've been told that fish is brain food, a key to a long and healthy life. It's a belief we all share, a simple truth we've built our diets around. But what if that simple truth isn't so simple? What if that very meal could be silently, almost secretly, clouding your memory and making your joints ache even more? This isn't just a possibility. For millions of Americans over 60, it is a reality. In fact, shocking research from the renowned medical journal The Lancet showed that eating the wrong fish just twice a week could increase your risk of stroke and memory loss by up to a staggering 80%. And here's the nightmare no one talks about. The symptoms, a little more forgetfulness, that nagging joint pain, feeling tired all the time, are so often blamed on just getting older. But sometimes the real culprit is right there on your dinner plate. I think of a patient of mine, a wonderful woman named Carol. She ate tilapia fillets a few times a week because they were affordable and easy to prepare. But she came to me because her arthritis had become unbearable. We simply swapped her usual fish for another kind, and within a month, she told me she felt years younger. It was a life-changing discovery for her. So today, we're going to clear up all the confusion. I'll show you the 4 fish you should absolutely avoid, and then the 4 healing fish you should be eating every week to protect your brain, your heart, and your joints. And please make sure you stay until the end, because the number 1 worst fish is a popular so-called healthy choice that might be in your freezer right now. This information is critical. Hi, I'm Dr. Anthony, and this is It's Senior Foods, where we uncover the truth about healthy aging. Every claim I share is backed by peer-reviewed science, not rumors or scare tactics. You'll find all the sources linked below. Before we dive in, I'm genuinely curious if the problem I just described, that feeling of doing something healthy that might actually be hurting you. If that sounds familiar, please take a moment to comment a simple yes below. It helps me understand what you're going through, and it shows others in our community that they are not alone. Okay? Let's get started. All right, let's get right into the heart of our discussion today. We're going to talk about 4 types of fish that, frankly, you should consider avoiding, especially as we get older. We're starting our list with a very, very popular one. Worst fish number 4, imported catfish. First on our list is that familiar sight in the frozen food aisle, imported catfish. You know the one. It's always there, in a big clear bag. The price tag is hard to ignore, often hovering around $5.99 a pound, sometimes even less. Its mild, almost sweet flavor and flaky texture make it seem like such a safe, reliable bet for a quick and healthy dinner. It doesn't taste fishy, it fries up beautifully, and it feels like you're doing something good for your heart. But the story behind that low price is something we need to talk about, because what seems like a bargain might come with a hidden cost to your health. Here's the part that might be unsettling. A significant portion of this imported catfish comes from overseas farms where conditions can be less than ideal. These fish are often raised in extremely overcrowded and sometimes unsanitary ponds. To prevent disease from spreading in such tight quarters, they are frequently treated with high doses of antibiotics and other chemicals, some of which are banned for use in U.S. aquaculture. Now, why does this matter more to us now than it did 30 years ago? It comes down to the beautiful, hard-working machinery of our bodies. As we age, our kidneys and liver, our natural filtration systems, don't work quite as efficiently as they used to. They have to work harder to process and eliminate toxins. When we consume fish laden with a residue of chemicals and antibiotics, we're adding an unnecessary burden onto these vital organs, forcing them to work overtime to clean up a mess they shouldn't have to deal with in the first place. And this is where it connects to how you might be feeling day to day. You know that nagging, persistent ache in your joints, that frustrating stiffness in your hands when you wake up? Much of that is caused by low-grade chronic inflammation. The chemical load from foods like this can act like fuel on that inflammatory fire, potentially making that joint pain feel worse. It can also contribute to a wider problem of antibiotic resistance, which is a serious concern for anyone, but especially for older adults whose immune systems may be more vulnerable. You don't just have to take my word for it. Investigations by consumer protection groups and food safety organizations have, time and again, found residues of banned substances in shipments of imported catfish. Studies published in journals focusing on food safety have highlighted the risks associated with aquaculture practices in certain regions, pointing directly to the potential for chemical contamination that U.S. regulations are designed to prevent. Let me tell you a quick story about a gentleman I know named George. George is a proud grandfather from Louisiana, and for him, a Friday fish fry is practically a sacred tradition. He started buying imported catfish because, as he said, a dollar is a dollar. But for years he complained about his arthritis, especially in his knees, and a general feeling of being run down. He chalked it up to just getting old. On a hunch, we talked about his diet, and the only thing he changed was switching his fish. He stopped buying the imported bags and started looking for the American alternative. So, here is your call to action. It's a corrective action, and it's very simple. Go to your freezer. Take out that bag of frozen catfish fillets, turn it over, and look at the fine print for the country of origin. If it doesn't say product of USA, I want you to make a conscious decision to finish that bag and then not buy another one. This isn't about giving up catfish. Not at all. The food itself is the solution. You just need to choose the right kind. American farm-raised catfish is a world apart. It's raised under strict federal and state regulations that govern water quality, feed, and the use of medicine. The standards are incredibly high, ensuring you get a clean, safe, and healthy product. So the fix is wonderfully simple. The next time you're in the grocery store, just take an extra 3 seconds. Look for the label that proudly says U.S. Farm Raised. It might cost $1 or $2 more per pound, but isn't your peace of mind and the health of your joints worth that small difference? It was for George. About a month later, he told me his knees felt better than they had in years. It's a small change that can make a very big difference. Moving on to the next item on our list. This one might hit close to home for a lot of us because it's a cornerstone of American life. Worst fish number 3. Tuna. That's right, tuna. Specifically, I'm talking about that classic comforting go-to meal, the tuna salad sandwich. For generations, it's been the answer to the question, what's for a quick lunch? You mix a can with a little mayonnaise, maybe some chopped celery, spread it between 2 slices of bread, and you have a meal in minutes. It's easy, it's affordable, and we've always been told it's healthy. But for those of us over 60, that seemingly innocent sandwich can come with a significant hidden cost, one that affects the very thing we prize most, our sharp minds. The single most important word here is mercury. The problem with tuna isn't the fish itself, but what it accumulates over its lifetime. Tuna, especially larger species like albacore, are apex predators that live for a very long time. Throughout their lives, they eat smaller fish, and the mercury from those smaller fish builds up in their bodies. It's a process called bioaccumulation. Now, why is this a bigger deal for us today? Because an older brain and nervous system are more vulnerable to the neurotoxic effects of mercury. The protective barriers we have, like the blood-brain barrier, can become slightly less robust with age, potentially allowing more of these toxins to pass through. Our body's ability to efficiently detoxify and excrete heavy metals also naturally slows down. We simply can't clear it out the way we could when we were 30. And here is where it gets personal, where it might make you pause and think. This gradual accumulation of mercury can manifest in ways that are frighteningly easy to dismiss as just getting old. Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you went in? Or struggled to find a simple word that's right on the tip of your tongue? That's often called brain fog. What about noticing a slight new tremor in your hands when you hold a cup of coffee, or feeling that your memory just isn't as reliable as it used to be? These are the exact symptoms of low-level mercury toxicity. It perfectly mimics the common signs of cognitive aging, making it incredibly difficult to spot the real culprit. You might blame age, when in fact your lunch habit could be a contributing factor. This isn't just speculation. This is backed by decades of research. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, and the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, have issued joint advisories for years, specifically warning about mercury levels in certain types of fish. Their guidelines are especially strict for pregnant women and children, but the underlying science about mercury's effect on the brain applies to all of us, particularly as our brains become more sensitive in our later years. I remember a lovely woman named Carol who swore by her daily tuna salad on rye. She was sharp as a tack, but she came to me worried about what she called her increasing senior moments and a persistent hand tremor her doctor couldn't explain. She was convinced it was the start of something serious. We didn't change any medications. We just changed her lunch. We swapped her daily tuna for other options. So here's my direct, actionable advice for you. The first step is a simple act of awareness. I want you to go to your pantry, take out a can of tuna, and look at the label. If it says albacore or white tuna, I strongly advise you to severely limit it. Think of it as an occasional indulgence, not a daily staple. The constructive action, the smart replacement, is to choose canned light or skipjack tuna instead. These types of tuna come from smaller, younger fish that haven't had as much time to accumulate mercury, making them a much safer choice. But even then, please, have it no more than once or twice a month, not a week. The role of food here is to provide safer alternatives. Canned salmon is a fantastic substitute, packed with omega-3s and very low in mercury. Canned sardines are another powerhouse of nutrition. Even a simple egg salad or chicken salad can fill that sandwich craving beautifully. After a few months, Carol told me the difference was like a fog had lifted from her mind. Her hand was steadier. It wasn't a miracle cure. It was just removing a hidden burden. And I'm genuinely curious about this. If you were surprised to hear this about a food as common as tuna, please just type the word "wow" in the comments below. It helps me understand how many of us might have thought this was a perfectly safe daily health food. Your simple switch could make all the difference. All right, let us move on to the fish that holds the number 2 spot on our list to avoid. This one is particularly tricky because it hides behind a very healthy-sounding name. Worst fish number 2, king mackerel. This one is deceptive, truly. You're out for a nice dinner, maybe at a lovely seafood restaurant by the coast. You scan the menu, and your eyes land on grilled mackerel. Immediately, your mind thinks of health. You think of those wonderful omega-3 fatty acids, of heart benefits, of making a smart choice. But this is a critical moment where you need to pause, because the word king in front of mackerel changes everything. The king variety isn't just a different size, it's in a completely different league of risk, and it's a fish you must avoid. So, what is the science behind this strong warning? In a single word, it's mercury. If we thought tuna was a concern, king mackerel is on an entirely different level. It has one of the highest, if not the highest, mercury concentrations of any fish commonly sold for consumption. These are large, powerful, long-living predators of the sea. For years and years they patrol the ocean, consuming other fish and acting like a biological sponge for mercury. All of that heavy metal gets locked into their tissues. Now here's the core reason this is so dangerous for us, specifically in our golden years. Our nervous system, the intricate wiring that controls our memory, our balance, and our movements, becomes more sensitive as we age. The protective mechanisms that once shielded our brain and nerves from toxins are not as formidable as they once were. Think of it like this. Our body's defenses are like an old, trusted fence. It's still standing strong, but a few more gaps have appeared over the years. The high dose of neurotoxin from a fish like king mackerel can march right through those gaps, posing a direct threat to our cognitive health and nerve function. This can connect to some very real and very concerning symptoms. We're not just talking about the brain fog we mentioned with tuna. With this level of mercury exposure, the symptoms can be more pronounced. We're talking about a persistent tingling or numbness in your hands and feet, a frustrating lack of coordination, or a feeling of being unsteady on your feet. It can even affect your vision or hearing. These are serious symptoms that could easily be mistaken for a more severe underlying medical condition, when they might in fact be linked to something as simple as a fish dinner. And this isn't just my opinion. This is backed by the highest levels of scientific authority. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, is very clear on this. They maintain a consumer advisory list, and king mackerel is placed squarely on their choices to avoid or do not eat list, especially for sensitive populations, which includes older adults. There is no ambiguity here. They recognize it as a direct and potent toxin to an aging nervous system. Let me paint a picture for you. I think of a friend of mine, Arthur, a retired Navy man who loves his seafood. He was at his favorite fish house and saw Chef Special Blackened Mackerel on the board. It sounded delicious. But he remembered our conversation, so he simply and politely asked the waitress, "Excuse me, I was just curious. What kind of mackerel is the chef using tonight?" She went back to the kitchen to check. A minute later, she returned and said, "Sir, the chef says it's king mackerel." Arthur just smiled and said, "Thank you so much for checking. In that case, I think I'll have the grilled salmon instead." It was that simple. No fuss, no scene. Just a quiet, informed choice. So here is your call to action, your simple plan. The corrective action is to always ask. Whenever you see mackerel on a menu or at a seafood counter, just ask the simple question, "What kind of mackerel is this?" The constructive action is your response. If the answer is king mackerel, or if they don't know, if they hesitate and say, "I think it's just regular mackerel," that is your clear signal to choose something else. It is not worth the risk. There are wonderful, safe alternatives. Atlantic mackerel, for instance, is a smaller fish and is very low in mercury, making it an excellent choice. But when in doubt, just choose a proven safe fish, like wild-caught salmon, cod, or haddock. The simple, practical solution is this. Your question is your shield. Arthur protected his health not with medicine, but with a simple sentence. Remember that. When it comes to mackerel, if you don't know its name, don't play the game. Just choose something else. And now, we have arrived at our final destination. The number one fish on our list to avoid. This isn't just a fish with high mercury or one that's farmed in questionable conditions. This fish is, frankly, an imposter. It's a food that actively works against the health of our older bodies, and it's the very fish that was at the heart of the health struggles for my patient Carol, whom we mentioned earlier. Worst fish number 1, farmed tilapia. Yes, farmed tilapia. I know this one is a shocker for many. It is everywhere. It's in every grocery store freezer, it's on the menu at countless family restaurants, and it's been marketed to us for years as a lean, clean, healthy white fish. It's affordable, it's mild, and it seems like the perfect, guilt-free source of protein. But the truth about what this fish has become is shocking. And for anyone over 60 dealing with aches and pains, it can be a direct enemy to your well-being. The problem isn't the fish itself in its natural state, but what modern farming has done to it. The issue lies in its diet. Wild tilapia eat algae and aquatic plants, which makes them rich in beneficial, anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids. But the vast majority of farmed tilapia are fed an unnatural diet of cheap corn and soy pellets. This completely changes the fish's nutritional profile. This diet makes the fish develop an incredibly high concentration of omega-6 fatty acids with very few omega-3s. This creates a nutritional ratio that is wildly, profoundly inflammatory. Some landmark studies from Wake Forest University School of Medicine suggested that the inflammatory potential of farmed tilapia is even worse than that of bacon or a hamburger. Think about that for a moment. Here is the core reason this is so critically important for us now. As our bodies age, we are already in a constant, quiet battle with chronic low-grade inflammation. It's one of the root causes of so many age-related ailments. For anyone already dealing with the daily reality of arthritis, stiff joints, or that persistent ache in your lower back, eating a food this high in inflammatory omega-6s is like pouring gasoline on that fire. It doesn't just fail to help you, it actively promotes and accelerates the very inflammation that is causing you pain. It literally fuels the fire in your joints. This is the part of Carol's story I wanted to share. She was a wonderful woman, but she was in constant pain from her arthritis, especially in her hands. She had trouble with buttons with holding a pen. She ate baked tilapia 3, sometimes 4 times a week. She was so proud of herself for choosing the healthy option over red meat. But she was unknowingly fanning the flames of her own pain. That healthy fish was a primary contributor to her suffering. The food she trusted to help her was actually hurting her the most. So, here is my call to action, and on this one, I am going to be very firm. This is a corrective action you can take today. Stop eating farmed tilapia. Period. Please make a conscious decision to remove it from your grocery list and eliminate it from your diet. There is no redeeming quality in this fish that can outweigh the inflammatory damage it can cause to an aging body. Now for the constructive action, because I will never leave you without a better path forward. The world of food is full of wonderful solutions. You are not losing a thing. If you want an affordable mild white fish, there are far superior choices. Look for Pacific cod. Look for haddock. Or even go back to the first fish we discussed, U.S. farm-raised catfish. All of these are safer, more nutritious, and in the same price range. You can swap the source of inflammation for a source of true nutrition without changing your budget. The day Carol made that switch was a turning point. She replaced her tilapia with baked cod and wild salmon. Within a couple of months, she told me she could make a fist in the morning without wincing. It wasn't a miracle. It was simply a case of removing the fuel. She removed the gasoline, and the fire in her joints began to die down. The solution for her wasn't a new pill. It was a smarter choice in the frozen food aisle, and that is a power that you hold right now. All right, we've spent enough time talking about what to clear out of your kitchen. We've covered the fish that can work against you. So now, let's turn a corner and focus on the really good news. Let's start building your grocery list with the foods that will truly support your health, your strength, and your vitality. It's time to talk about the fish you should be eating. We are now going to begin our list of the 4 best fish for people over 60, and we're going to start with a true, unsung hero of the sea. Best fish number 4, wild-caught Pacific cod. Let's begin our good list with a quiet champion, wild-caught Pacific cod. If you're looking for one simple, delicious addition to your diet that can directly help you fight back against frailty, this is it. Think of this fish as your best friend for maintaining your strength, your mobility, and your independence as you age. It's not flashy, but its benefits are profound. So what's the secret inside this humble white fish? It's 2 key things: incredibly high-quality protein and a wonderful mineral called selenium. The protein in cod is what scientists call highly bioavailable, which is just a fancy way of saying your body can absorb and use it with remarkable efficiency. These are the literal building blocks your body needs to repair and maintain lean muscle. Selenium, on the other hand, acts like a personal bodyguard for your cells. It's a powerful antioxidant that helps protect your body from the daily cellular stress that contributes to the aging process. It's clean, it's consistently low in mercury, and its flaky, mild texture is very easy on the digestive system. Now, why is this protein and selenium combination so uniquely essential for us after the age of 60? It's because of a natural process called sarcopenia. That's the medical term for age-related muscle loss. Starting around age 50, we can lose a significant percentage of our muscle mass each decade if we're not proactive. This is the very reason why getting up from a low chair becomes harder, why we might feel a little less steady on our feet, or why a simple jar lid can suddenly feel impossible to open. It's not just about being able to lift heavy things. It's about having the fundamental strength to live independently and safely. Providing your body with a steady supply of high-quality, easy-to-use protein is the single most powerful dietary tool you have to fight this process. This isn't just a hopeful theory, it's a well-established scientific fact. The National Institute on Aging has published extensive research linking adequate protein intake in older adults to better muscle maintenance and physical function. Similarly, organizations like the American Heart Association consistently recommend eating fish, particularly low-mercury fish like cod, at least twice a week for its broad health benefits. I think of a gentleman I know named Bill, a retired carpenter. His greatest joy was his grandchildren, but he confessed to me that he was starting to feel weak. He said, "I used to be able to lift my granddaughter to put the star on the Christmas tree, and last year I struggled." It broke his heart. He felt his strength, his very identity, slipping away. We made a simple change. We made sure he was eating a portion of clean protein, like baked Pacific cod, at least 3 times a week. So, here's your simple, constructive action. The next time you are at the store, I want you to make a beeline for the frozen seafood section. Look for the bags that clearly say wild-caught Pacific cod. It's widely available and surprisingly affordable. Put one in your cart. That's it. You've just purchased one of the best tools for rebuilding your strength. This is the very essence of using food as your ally. You don't need a fancy supplement or an expensive powder. You just need the right ingredients on your dinner plate. The solution for Bill wasn't complicated. A few months later, he called me, and his voice was full of joy. He told me his granddaughter ran up to him, and he swooped her up into his arms without a second thought. He said he felt solid again. And the best part? It's incredibly easy to prepare. Don't overthink it. Take a frozen fillet, place it on a piece of baking parchment, drizzle it with a little olive oil, squeeze some fresh lemon over the top, and sprinkle on some dill or parsley. Fold the parchment into a little packet and bake it at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 to 20 minutes. It steams in its own juices. It's tender, flaky, and absolutely foolproof. That simple meal is a powerful step toward a stronger, more confident you. All right, let's move on to the next fish on our list of the best foods you can eat. This one might surprise you because it's often overlooked, sitting quietly on the shelf. But I promise you, it is one of the most powerful superfoods in the entire grocery store. Best fish number 3, sardines. Next up is what I truly believe is the most underrated superfood in the grocery store, the humble sardine. You see them there, in those small, flat tins. And for about $2.50 a can, you are getting an absolute powerhouse of nutrition that directly targets 2 of the biggest health concerns for people over 60, bone fragility and chronic inflammation. It's one of the most efficient, affordable, and effective health foods you can buy. So what is packed into that tiny can? Sardines are loaded with 3 critical nutrients in near-perfect harmony. First, they are brimming with those anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids, the very thing that helps to cool down the fires of arthritis in your joints. Second, they are one of the best natural food sources on the planet for vitamin D, the sunshine vitamin that is so crucial for our mood and immune system. And third, because you eat the tiny, soft, edible bones, they are packed with bone-building calcium. What's more, because these are tiny fish at the very bottom of the ocean's food chain, they are incredibly clean and have virtually no mercury accumulation. Now let's talk about why this combination becomes so profoundly essential as we get older. The strength of our bones is paramount. A fall that we would have brushed off at 30 can be life-altering at 70. As we age, our skin becomes less efficient at producing vitamin D from sunlight, and our bodies can struggle to absorb enough calcium from our diet. This is a direct path to osteoporosis, where bones become brittle and weak. Sardines deliver both vitamin D and highly absorbable calcium together. Vitamin D actually helps your body absorb calcium, making them a perfect team. It's like nature created the perfect bone-strengthening supplement and packed it in a can for us. This directly relates to that deep-seated fear many of us have. The fear of falling. The fear of a simple misstep leading to a broken hip and a loss of independence. Having strong, dense bones is your body's internal insurance policy. It's the resilience that can turn a potential disaster into a minor incident. At the same time, the omega-3s go to work on that familiar morning stiffness, that feeling of being creaky in your joints. You're tackling two of aging's biggest challenges with one simple food. The scientific community is united on this. Countless studies and health organizations, from cardiologists to bone health specialists, champion the benefits of small, oily fish like sardines for their nutrient density and safety. They are consistently recommended as part of a heart-healthy and bone-protective diet. If you believe in the power of simple, healthy foods, just take a moment and type "healthy" in the comments below. It's wonderful to see how many of us are taking control of our health. So here is your call to action. It is wonderfully simple. The next time you're at the grocery store, just pick up one can. That's all, just one. Choose the ones packed in olive oil or water and put them in your cart. I remember talking to a lovely woman named Eleanor who wrinkled her nose when I suggested sardines. She said, "Oh, I could never." But she was worried about her bone density, so she agreed to try it just once. This is the simple solution I gave her, and it's the perfect way to start. Take a piece of whole grain toast, open the can of sardines, and just mash them onto the toast with a fork. Add a generous squeeze of fresh lemon juice and a crack of black pepper. That's it. You've just made one of the healthiest meals imaginable in about 60 seconds. Eleanor called me a week later. She said with a laugh in her voice, "You know what? It was actually delicious." She made it her new go-to lunch twice a week. She was using food as her medicine, and it didn't feel like a sacrifice at all. It was easy, it was cheap, and it was powerfully effective. That little $2 can is a smart investment in a stronger, more resilient you. Okay, we've talked about a great foundational fish and a surprisingly powerful canned option. Now, let's talk about the superstar, the one that gets all the attention for good reason. This is the celebrity of the healthy fish world. Best fish number 2, wild-caught Alaskan salmon. Here it is, the one you've been waiting for. Wild-caught Alaskan salmon. Yes, it can be a bit more of an investment at the checkout counter, often ranging from $15 to $25 a pound, depending on the season. But please think of it this way. It's not an expense. It's a direct investment in your two most precious assets, keeping your mind sharp and your heart strong. There is perhaps no single food on earth that is more powerfully protective for an aging brain. So what makes this beautiful pink-hued fish the undisputed king? It is the gold standard for a specific omega-3 fatty acid called DHA. DHA isn't just good for you. It is a literal physical building block of your brain. Your brain tissue is made of this stuff. As we get older, our brain needs a constant fresh supply of DHA to fight inflammation, maintain the connections between brain cells, and preserve memory. Wild salmon also contains a unique and incredibly potent antioxidant called astaxanthin. This is the natural compound that gives the salmon its vibrant red color, and its job in nature is to protect the fish's cells. When you eat it, it does the same for you, acting like a shield for your brain and body cells against daily damage. Here's the core why this becomes so critically essential in our later years. As we age, the brain is susceptible to two things: inflammation and shrinkage. These processes are at the root of cognitive decline. The DHA in wild salmon is one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory agents you can consume, directly cooling that inflammation in the brain. It also provides the raw materials your brain needs to repair itself and maintain its volume. Your body cannot produce this vital fat on its own. It is essential. You must get it from your food, and wild salmon is nature's richest, cleanest source. This connects directly to those moments of frustration that can become all too common. That feeling of brain fog, where your thoughts feel slow and cloudy. The struggle to pull up a familiar name or a specific word that is right on the tip of your tongue. These aren't just inevitable signs of aging, they are often symptoms of a brain that is starved for these specific nutrients. Feeding your brain with salmon is like giving a high-performance engine the premium fuel it was designed to run on. It brings back clarity. The scientific evidence here is overwhelming. Major studies published in respected journals like the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition have repeatedly shown a strong link between regular consumption of fatty fish rich in DHA and a lower risk of dementia, Alzheimer's, and age-related memory loss. I think of a client of mine, Margaret. Her passion in life was doing the Sunday crossword puzzle. She told me, with a hint of sadness, that it had started to feel more like a chore than a joy. The clues seemed harder, and the words wouldn't come. She felt like she was losing her edge. We made one primary change to her diet, a 4-ounce portion of wild Alaskan salmon twice a week. That was it. So, here is your call to action. First, the corrective action. When you are at the fish counter, you must avoid any salmon labeled Atlantic salmon. Atlantic salmon is always farmed, always. It has a completely different and inferior nutritional profile. Now, for the constructive action, look for the words wild caught, sockeye, coho, or king. These are your keys to quality. A simple 4-ounce portion twice a week is the gold standard for reaping the benefits. A few months later, Margaret told me she was finishing her crosswords faster than she had in years. She said, "The fog is gone, it's just clear again." The role of this amazing food was to provide her brain with exactly what it was missing. And the solution is so simple and delicious. All this powerful fish needs is to be baked at 400 degrees Fahrenheit with a little olive oil, a squeeze of lemon, and a sprinkle of dill. That's how you invest in a vibrant, sharp, and healthy mind for years to come. We have arrived at the pinnacle of our list. We've discussed fish for muscle, for bones, and for the brain. But this final choice, this is the one I recommend most often to my patients. This is the one that truly brings everything together in a perfect, harmonious package. Best fish, number 1, rainbow trout. And my number 1 recommendation for my patients over 60 is, without a doubt, rainbow trout. It truly combines the best of all worlds. It offers the brain-boosting omega-3s of salmon, the clean safety of a well-managed source, and a unique benefit that is absolutely critical for heart health as we age. It is, in my opinion, the wisest choice you can make at the fish counter. So what makes this fish so special? First, it is one of the safest fish you can buy. Virtually all rainbow trout sold in the United States are farm-raised in meticulously controlled environments. U.S. trout farms are known for their strict regulations, often using closed-containment freshwater raceways that protect the fish from outside contaminants. This means you get a pure, clean product every time. Second, like its cousin salmon, it's rich in those anti-inflammatory omega-3s. But here is the special ingredient. It also contains an excellent amount of potassium. Potassium is a mineral that is absolutely crucial for managing blood pressure. Finally, its mild, slightly nutty flavor and tender, delicate texture make it incredibly palatable and perfect for seniors. It is the complete package. Let's focus on that potassium, because this is the core reason trout earns the top spot. As we age, our blood vessels naturally become a bit stiffer and less flexible. This can cause our blood pressure to creep up, forcing our heart to work harder every single day. High blood pressure is often called the silent killer for a reason. Potassium plays a direct, heroic role in this battle. It helps our bodies balance sodium levels and, most importantly, it helps to relax the walls of our blood vessels, making it easier for blood to flow through. For an aging cardiovascular system, this is not just beneficial, it is essential. And this connects to a feeling many of us know all too well. It is that moment when you stand up a little too quickly and the room swims for a second. It's that unexplained fatigue or the constant low-level worry in the back of your mind after a doctor's visit where your blood pressure reading was a little high. Taking control of your blood pressure isn't just about avoiding a serious health event. It's about reclaiming your daily energy, your stability, and your peace of mind. The science on this is crystal clear. Health organizations like the American Heart Association have long promoted diets rich in potassium as a cornerstone of managing hypertension. The FDA's stringent oversight of U.S. aquaculture gives us confidence in the purity of the fish, ensuring we get all the benefits without the risks. I often tell the story of a man named David, a retired teacher who was on blood pressure medication, but hated how it made him feel, tired and a little dizzy. He felt powerless. We didn't change his medication, but we changed his diet. We added U.S. farm-raised rainbow trout to his menu twice a week. He wasn't just eating, he was taking an active role in his own health. So here is your final, simple call to action. The constructive action is this. The next time you're shopping, look for one specific phrase on the package: U.S. farm-raised rainbow trout. That label is your guarantee of safety and quality. A few months later, David told me he just felt better, more energetic, more like himself. His doctor was pleased with his numbers at his next checkup. The role of this wonderful food was to be a powerful ally to his health plan. The solution was on his dinner plate. And it's so easy to prepare. Simply heat a little olive oil in a pan over medium-high heat. Season the trout fillets with salt and pepper. Place them skin side down and cook for about 3 to 4 minutes until the skin is crispy. Flip them once, cook for another minute or two, and you're done. It's a restaurant-quality meal packed with heart-protecting power that you can make in less than 10 minutes. It's a delicious, wise, and empowering choice for a long and healthy life. So as we come to the end of our time together, I want you to think back to the story of Carol, my patient with that unbearable arthritis in her hands, who was struggling with the simple joys of life. Today, Carol is back in her garden, tending to her roses. She's playing card games with her grandkids, her hands moving freely without that constant nagging pain. That one simple switch on her dinner plate, choosing to remove the food that was fueling her inflammation and replacing it with foods that heal, gave her back her life. Her story is such a powerful and beautiful reminder of how much control we truly have over our own health right in our own kitchens. The big takeaway from all of this is simple, but it is life-changing. Your choices in the grocery store are some of the most powerful health decisions you can make. Every time you walk down those aisles, you have the power to choose foods that heal your body, not harm it. Foods that build your strength, protect your bones, and sharpen your mind. That is not a burden. That is a gift. As we wrap up, we've explored the fish to avoid and the fish to embrace. But knowledge is only powerful when we put it into action. So now I have one important question for you. This is my challenge to you today. What is the one commitment you are making to yourself this week after watching this? It could be something as simple as, I will finally skip the farmed tilapia. Or maybe, I promise to try sardines on toast just once. Or perhaps, I will look for U.S. farm-raised on the label. Please share your personal commitment in the comments below. Reading your commitments doesn't just hold you accountable. It inspires everyone else in this community to take that first brave step with you. And if this video gave you some real value and clarity today, if it empowered you to make a positive change, please show your support by taking a moment to give this video a like. To ensure you continue on this journey with us and never miss another video full of simple, life-changing wisdom, hit that subscribe button. It's more than just subscribing, it's joining our community here at It's Senior Foods, a community of people dedicated to living our very best lives together. Finally, think of one person, a friend, a spouse, a sibling, who needs to hear this message. Please share this video with them. You might just change their life for the better. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with me. Here's to your health. Stay strong, stay wise, and I'll see you in the next video.